Hey everyone, so I learned about a new tuning recently, actually from one of my students. They suggested wanting to learn this song. I wasn't familiar with it, but hey, let's go for it. And he said, but it's kind of in this weird tuning. And he told me what it was, and I was like, he's got to be wrong. There's something so weird about that, but I looked it up. He described it as the Midwest Emo Tuning. Now, I myself, that's not really like where I spend my time listening to music or exploring the artists there, but that's okay. People do, it's popular, seems to do okay and stuff. So the song he was suggesting was it Never Meant by American Football. That's the name of the band. So I recognize the album cover from like some memes and stuff. So it's like I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's one thing I learned that's really fun about teaching is that you get to learn new things from the students all the time. I probably would not have ever come across this tuning otherwise. So let me just break it down for you. It's F-A-C-G-C-E. Weird. So you tune the low string, the sixth E string, up a half a step. You tune the fourth string D down a whole step, and then you're going to tune the second string B up a half step to C. So again, half step up, normal. Whole step down, normal. Half step up, normal. I'm like, what is going on with this? So I watched a few YouTube videos that were out there, and they're informative, but they did not really answer some of the questions that I had about the tuning. So I'm hoping that maybe I can explain it the way that I like to, and a way that maybe might make it make sense for more people, because it is interesting what you can do with it. I don't know that I'm going to write stuff in this, but like I see why people might want to use this tuning now that I've kind of learned the riff. Let's see, it's something like, which only is really using the bottom four strings, and for the most part with this song, you could get away with even doing that on a baritone ukulele and not having to worry about messing with these two low strings. But let me break it down for you the way that I like to talk about it. So these other videos out there, they're talking a little bit more advanced theory about it. They're talking about the nines, chords, and seconds, and all the weird chords that you get from barring it, and all the way across, and just chords that you can use to mix up a song. That's cool, but that doesn't really help me. What I need to know is how I can make a G major and an E major, how I can make an A minor, the chords that I already know how to do, that I already know songs around. How do I do those chords, and how do I work the scales out too? So what I did was I took one of my scale worksheets that I made for guitar, dumped it into a Guitar Pro project, and with the tuning adjusted, and then went through and had to make some different adjustments with it. So let me just run through a few of these. I'm not going to share my screen with it there. I've got it up here in front of me. But I had to kind of like space them out in order of the scales and how I like to do it with kind of following the circle of fifths. So if I'm starting on this fourth string, the C, my C major scale is going to be something like this. And then I've got this chord right here. Really pretty chord, but you notice that I have four notes on the fourth string, three notes on the third string, and only a single note on the B string right there. So that's because of the way that we are tuned. With this string, the sixth string, being tuned up a half step, we are condensing the scale of the instrument. And then even down to this string, by tuning it down a whole step, we are bringing that in closer. And the reason why we are doing that is because now on these three strings, these three top strings, we have a major triad. So that's pretty cool. It gets more complicated as you add in those other strings down beneath it, but that kind of disqualifies it from just like regular major and minor. Let's talk about that first. So this chord, again, and you can move that around, and it just becomes whatever you need it to there. The only reason that it's like I like this idea, but the only reason that I might have come up with this a little bit different, is that if you want to make a minor chord from this, you have to drop your 5th string back a fret to make that work, to lower your 3rd. You could fix this by retuning the instrument, just that one string right there. I guess if you tuned your A string down to an A flat, just a half step there, that would make your bar chord a minor, and that would be a lot easier to adjust into a major chord. Just my thoughts on it, though, but that's what's going on those low strings. Let's talk about the next 4 strings, the middle strings in here, too. So those are tuned A, C, G, C. So not really a triad or anything. If we look at it with A being the root, we have A, then C, that's a minor 3rd, and then G at the end, that would be your 7th. So we could call it an A minor 7th. That right there. Which works in some cases. I guess if you, let's see, if you raised both the C strings, that would make it I guess a major 7th, but not in the sense of like the 7th being higher. That would be like this. And you can get chords like that pretty easily just with little bars, and that is kind of a nice thing with the way this instrument's tuned, is that you have different sets of interval gaps, I guess, between it. These 3 strings are kind of closed in, and then you have some interesting stuff down here. If you focus on just the bottom 4 strings, you have C, G, C, which could be like even a dulcimer, style tuning, with C being the root, G being the 5th. Not really a dulcimer player, but it's a fun instrument to sit down and pick up. So, yeah, with the C, G, C, E right there, that is C, E, well, C, G, that's your root 5th, octave, major 3rd right there. So again, one of these cases where that 3rd cannot drop down to become minor. You'd have to do something like this, like a 3-3-3, to make that work there. So again, I just like to go through this process, and I get what these other YouTubers are going for and explaining how people use it to make these complex chords, but I need to start with like the majors and minors, understand that, and then I can get into that territory. And I just felt like that was a gap that was missed. Before I wrap up, let me run through a few more of these scales that I kind of made up here. So I did C major, let me do G major then. So that would be down here like this. And then I have a couple chords here for that. I can make 2, 2, 2, 4. That would be like a triad with a high 3rd on it there. Or I could do this. 2, 4, 2, 3. That'd be like a G major. So again, single note on the top string, 2 notes, 4 notes on that string, and a single note to finish this up. If I did D major, I'm starting on the C string. Excuse me. Can add that low string in there. It comes in handy every now and then. Let me jump to maybe something minor here. So, got all my stuff here on the screen in front of me. So an A minor, of course, could start on the A string. Excuse me. That throws me off, not having equal number of notes on a string there. So I'm just going. And then this one only requires 1 finger right there on that string. So that's kind of cool. Again, I'll run that A minor. Like not having to reach out to the 6th fret to get that note. And an E minor, I guess I could do this up here at the 4th fret of my 4th string. And my chord would look like this, 2, 4, 4, 4, 0, for unison on the top. Yeah. So again, it's kind of cool, and I've enjoyed learning the song, and I can see like that it's definitely the Never Meant song. It definitely has a lot of like roots in what I've learned about emo and what comes after it and everything there. So, I'm always down to help somebody learn new styles, even if it's not my thing. And I always learn something new about it. And I feel like this was a great example of me learning something new. And I might get into sharing some of my own odd tuning stuff that I've done. I have a couple weird tunings that I've come up with that are kind of handy. They're a little bit easier to work with. The one downside to this that I kind of learned with making all the scales and mapping it out is that it is a little tough to, I guess for me anyway, just not being used to it, to play very melodically or play scales straight through and be able to move groups of fingers around. You guys probably see me doing scales all the time, and it's just a shape, it's just where you put the shape that makes it what it is. But with this and it all being thrown off and having four notes on the fourth string and very limited notes on the top string there, it's a little confusing for me at the moment. If I wind up having a breakthrough and am able to kind of understand it as well as I understand just normal chords and stuff, then I will share that as well. But for now, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Did you already know about this tuning? Is there other songs that I should look into and suggest that are in this tuning? Again, this is a new thing for me, but yeah, let me know what you think, and I will see you again soon. Thanks.